Today there is an attack on traditional gender roles where the man is being the provider, he is the leader, he is the one that is in charge, he is the protector, and the woman is the one that is receiving him, who's being provided for, who is often the one that is staying home with the children, though it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but that's part of the whole traditional gender role. And this way of being, where the man is leading, protecting, providing, the woman is receiving and staying at home with the children, as well as other aspects of this traditional gender role, it has been in place in human history for thousands of years. To simplify it, right? We're just going to simplify gender roles for a minute. Man is the leader, the giver. The woman is the follower and receiver. This has been in place for thousands of years. And part of this attack, and which has been going on for quite a while, for many decades, it's this idea that we're told that this is just because of history. This is an outdated tradition. This is because women have just been suppressed throughout history. And that now that women have become empowered, now gender roles have no place, that they're silly, and that anyone who partakes in them, there must be something wrong with them, right? It means the man must be controlling in some way, and the woman must just hate herself and be a willing victim. This is not true at all. This is a very toxic message to tell men and women. There is nothing healthier than traditional gender roles, because it's not just a cultural phenomenon. It is an instinctual one. We have these roles because our instincts tell us to be in these roles, assuming that our instinct is online enough, it's not covered up in enough wounding to actually give that message. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why this is instinctual and make it as crystal clear for everyone why this is the natural way of being. So hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams, using feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. And if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that below, hit the notification bell, and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you today. And if you would like more information about how to shift out of your unhealthy control patterns and into inspiring a man into taking care of you, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers, and a great place to start is my free webinar at zachrohdecoaching.com. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read another section of my book, Inspire His Devotion, which, by the way, it's one of my offers below the video. You can find it on Amazon if you type in my name, Zach Rohde. We're going to talk about these gender roles and how awesome they are. So polarity can only be created with masculine giving energy and feminine receiving energy. These are opposite poles, right? Masculine role gives, feminine role receives. Masculine role leads, feminine role follows. These energetic roles are the foundation of all gender roles we see in our society. When you look around at many of our traditional norms, which are currently being eroded, though we are making a comeback, partly because of me, one small piece of that, you see how these instinctual roles of giving and receiving have been ingrained in our culture far beyond the cave people basics of giving and receiving resources and protection. That was part of my earlier part in this chapter, the cave people thing. So I'm going to give a few examples here. In dances, the man physically gives his leadership and the woman receives it. So ladies, sit with this. And by the way, if you're listening, you're probably already resonating. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to deepen your understanding for yourself of how important these gender roles are. Typically, people who really need to be convinced by my work, they're never going to be right for it. It might take decades of them being unhappy, though there are exceptions. So sometimes people find me and initially they're unbelievably triggered by everything, but there's something that's resonating where it's like, oh, I can't stop listening. What's going on here? And you're like angry and pissed off at me at the same time. That's cool too. Many of my academy students used to be where you are, if that's you. So the dances. Ask yourself, how good does it feel for a man who can competently lead on a dance floor? And he's just so confident, just spinning you around or whatever you're doing, salsa, tango, freeform dance, whatever. How good does that feel? How good would that feel if you were the one that was in charge and you were teaching him and you were leading him around the dance floor? Would that feel natural, or would that feel super weird? Right? The reason that it would feel weird is because your feminine instinct isn't meant to be leading, physically or otherwise, dancing or otherwise. It's meant to receive, it's meant to follow. On dates, the man gives a time and place and leads or drives the woman to it, and she receives this leadership. So, how good does it feel when you got a competent man? He's like, hey, I'm going to take you out for 6 p.m. Make sure you're ready. Just dress casual. I'm going to take you out here. And then he picks you up, and he's on time, and you go to dinner or wherever you're going, in a movie or a walk in a park, whatever it is that he's planned for you, and he's leading the whole time, and you don't have to think at any moment like, oh, what should I be doing, or like, should I be like leading this way? No, because he's a man in charge. He's a man with a plan, and he's taking care of you. That should feel natural and normal. Now, what if you were in charge of that? What if you had to say, here, we're going to be meeting for 6 o'clock. Make sure you wear your best pants and a nice belt and a tie. God, it's just painful just even speaking that. You pick him up at 6 o'clock. You drive him around to the place. You get in the restaurant. You say, hey, I got a reservation for 2. You lead him. You pull out. You take him on the date. You pay and everything. How good is that going to feel? You're going to feel like his mommy, right? That's your feminine instinct saying, there's something messed up here. And if you've been in a long-term relationship, some of you might have actually experienced something like that. And it feels icky. You start to lose attraction for a man like that because you're not attracted to your child, right? And that's the role that it's in. With chivalry, men give their direction by pulling out chairs and opening doors. They also give protection by walking on the outside of the sidewalk closest to cars. Yeah, I've had to stop women sometimes from opening doors for me. I'm like, no, I'm like on a date. It's weird. Not many, but it has happened before. I'm like, no, I'm here to take care of you. And I was back in my Peter Pan stage where I wasn't even fully embodied in my masculine instinct, but I still knew like that feels kind of weird, right? Imagine opening doors for a man, opening a man's car door, to the passenger door. Yes, sir. Here you go. Close the door. And then you get in and you drive him around. Or you pull out the chair for him at a restaurant. That's going to feel super weird. Now, for some women, you might also feel weird being the one that's being taken care of in that way. But it's a different feeling of weirdness if that's the case. That's because your feminine self-worth isn't fully online. You're not fully recognizing on the deepest level that you're worthy of being taken care of in that way. Right, you might be attached to this independence wound thing where, I can do everything for myself. If you're there, that's okay. But that weirdness stems from a wound, and it will feel different than the weirdness of opening a man's car door, because that's going completely against your feminine instinct. That will not feel good. Chivalry is not, like all of this stuff, it's not cultural. It's cultural, but it came from something deeper. It came because we're instinctually wired this way, and culture evolved based on these instincts. Isn't that cool? It's not like, and yes, to be fair, there's a lot of culture that has really historically suppressed women. And that is a big problem, right? I'm against anything that is suppressing women in any kind of way. I'm against anything that is not giving women the choice to choose for themselves. Right? You want to be a boss babe and work as a lawyer for 14 hours a day and burn yourself out and send your children to daycare and not have any kind of traditional role whatsoever and be with a man who's emasculated and you boss him around at home. Cool. I don't think that's a great idea, but that's your choice, and that's the beauty of freedom, right? Part of the reason many women resist this polarity thing is they're afraid of going back to a culture where women truly were suppressed and didn't have the freedom to choose. And so then that's not real submission, right? You're submitting to a man's leadership when you're choosing to, when you actually have the choice, when it's a yes in your body. Yeah, and it feels so much better that way. Okay, so it's typically men who do the present buying and the compliment giving to make women feel special. And here's a problem that many, maybe the chivalry thing is a bit much for most women, but have you ever bought a man a birthday present or Christmas present? Have you ever planned his birthday? Have you ever planned Christmas? Well, you're in the giving role when you do that. That's not the role that you're supposed to be in. And of course, you got some men who've got these big wounds and they want presents. Any man whose masculine instinct is even half online is like, I don't really enjoy presents from especially from my woman. That's weird. I want to give presents. I don't want to receive them. That's because their masculine instinct knows that it's completely inverted to be the one that's receiving presents from his woman. Right? Valentine's Day, Christmas, birthdays, it's the man who's supposed to be doing these things to make the woman feel special. And you might be thinking at this point, what is the man getting out of it? What he's getting out of it is he gets to see his woman happy. He gets to know, I was the one that made her happy through my actions, through my effort. That big smile that's on her face, that cute little feminine laugh, the receptivity when the man gives a hug to you. It's like, oh, and I can just feel she's just receiving me fully. A man needs to be received. He doesn't need to be given all of this love and have these things done for him. He just needs his love received. He needs you to see him as a hero. He needs you to see him as a leader, as your leader. That's all he needs. When proposing, the man gives the ring and his offer of lifetime commitment. The woman chooses to receive it. I mean, if you want to see the I don't know if degeneracy is the right word, but society just completely going the wrong direction. This isn't the norm, but it happens. It's the woman proposing to the man. That is so backwards. That should be really embarrassing for any woman and man, really embarrassing for a man. Marriage is supposed to be a gift that the man gives to his woman. He is offering his commitment to her. And that's why it feels so special for a woman, because it's like, oh my God, he's committing to me. He's choosing to not stray and to only be with me. It's completely different the other way around, because the woman's the one that wants that. It's not that a man doesn't want commitment, right? But it's we have wiring also to not be committed, because we could theoretically impregnate 1,000 women a year because of the way that our biology is, right? So whereas women really need that commitment, because you got a uterus, you got a 9-month commitment when you get impregnated, and you really cannot afford to be abandoned by a man. So that marriage proposal is saying, hey, I'm going to stick by you, stick with any children that we have. You are mine and you're my one and only. So when a woman does it, it's completely backwards. It's just an act of desperation. And a man's not going to feel special. He's going to feel like, why did you do this? Why did you take this choice away from me? And yeah, it's just bad. It's very bad. When married, the man used to be the sole provider who would go out and work to provide food and shelter. The woman would receive it and take care of the home and children. And by the way, this is a good point to interject and say, I'm not saying a woman shouldn't do anything to make money, right? Even in the olden days, women were knitting sweaters for their children. They were doing making extra food to sell it to neighbors and everything. There was other things that women were doing to stay busy and to feel purposeful, other than just changing diapers and cooking and cleaning. That's completely okay if a woman has a job, but you got to understand, the more that a woman is outside of the home working, typically for another man or for another boss, another leader, the more it's going to masculinize her and the less inspiring she is going to be. The ideal is either that the woman stays home with the children and just does that, and or she has a side job or a side passion that really fulfills her, maybe makes some money, maybe a lot of money, but ideally it's more from home or entirely from home. Just as far as optimal polarity, I'm not saying, hey, it has to be this way to have an amazing relationship, but for optimal polarity, yes. On a larger scale, it's the men that go to war to protect all the women and offspring. The women receive that protection because men are bigger, because we're stronger, right? That's a genetic thing, and also because you don't need as many men for the survival of the nation or for the survival of the tribe. Typically, if only one man survives, say in a tribal war, and the man comes back, well, you can still have a whole bunch of children. But if all the women go off to war, your tribe's done if they all die, or if only one comes back. Did these gender roles arise because of now outdated social conditioning? No, these gender roles arose because of our instincts. Our instincts have not changed one bit in the last century or in the last several thousand years, though for many of us, they have become buried and suppressed. So what I'm building, what I am a part of, is I'm not taking anyone back to the 1950s or the 1900s, where women were much more suppressed in many ways and unfulfilled. And I will also argue, not actually truly feminine, because a lot of these roles were actually like kind of mothering a man through like giving and doing everything for him in the home, and not through the man's leadership. There's a lot of inversion that's happened throughout history. I am taking you to a time that we've never been, where men are fully stepping up into devotional leaders who are cherishing their women, and women are letting go. They're learning how to fully trust, fully receive, fully communicate their needs. This is a big thing that was missing thousands of years ago or throughout history, communicating their needs, because women have typically been so repressed, so suppressed that they haven't been able to. So communicate your needs in a beautiful, vulnerable way that inspires a man into taking care of you as much as you need and deserve. If you'd like help learning how to shift the way that you're showing up and shift your communication and shift your energy to be able to attract and or inspire a man into doing that for you, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers. Go to the Academy link at thedreamrelationship.com. Watch the video, see if it resonates for you. If it does, book a call with me below the video, and I'll speak with you on a call. We'll talk all about what you're going through. We'll talk about what your problems are, where you're stuck. We'll give you some coaching on everything, and we'll see if our Academy program is the right solution for you to start shifting all of this so that you can learn how to inspire a man into cherishing you the way that you need and deserve.